mean, I find the whole thing fascinating. How I survived apparently is a medical mystery.
Mate, it's like a miracle you're alive, really.
It is in a way, yeah. It's like the luckiest and the unluckiest because it did enough damage to, paralyze me for life and probably put me in one of the worst situations you can imagine, and then didn't kill me at the same time. So, the last thing I remember is being in a firefight and now waking up flat on my back, can't move, confused, proper drugs, and I know what it's like being on drugs. And I know what it's like being on hardcore drugs as well. And I was like, this feels familiar. I reckon I'm being, they pumped me full of truth serum and they're trying to interrogate me.
Toby, I love how you were saying to me off camera at the beginning, like you've still got your friends and stuff in the area you live. And it seems like you still got this like bit of banter and you still have amazing fun that you just don't lose.
Yeah. You don't lose it. You never lose it. From day one in the military, you never lose the banter. And it's for a reason, like they do actually instill banter into you because that humor is what's going to get you through some really bad times. Man.
Right.
Of course.
And there will be some bad times. So that dark humor and banter, it's just, I don't know, it's morale, man.
Yeah. Is it like a prerequisite kind of thing almost?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think the camaraderie just like helps you.
Camaraderie,
just keeps you positive.
They teach you little funny lines and that stick with you and just, humor is massive, man.
I remember me and Matt went to university together, and I always remembered the chants we used to say when we were like in the football team. And like, I know as though, not quite like the army, but it's almost like there's a brotherhood there, there's a community, and you're always
to look forward to those moments of just going out with all the team and just going crazy, like just going a bit crazy.
And
then
you build like strong bonds. It's part of it. And I think they really try and instill that in you when you're in the Marines or any military, I suppose, because it makes sense, doesn't it? It makes sense because you got to have each other's backs and you got to really look after each other.
Do you think we're losing that now with all like social media stuff and just kind of the way the world's moving in terms of like actually being connected
you mean
in
like
person?
the whole woke movement and stuff
movement,
like that?
And also just like, you can spend a lot of your time on a phone and speaking to people rather than just being in their own company, and it's still,
the social,
infinitely different,
proper face-to-face interaction. It is dying off, but it's just the way. Well, it's just the way the world's moving, isn't it?
Yeah. How old were you when you joined the army?
Army? I never joined the army.
Marines.
I joined the Marines, mate.
The difference.
We do not like the army. There's some massive rivalry there.
They say that the I don't know this, but the test you do to get into the army and the Marines is like so different.
Well,
is that a thing?
Yeah. The army's got so many different like fractions and regiments, and things. But it's generally the paras. So the paratroopers. And the Marines, that's where the real rivalry is.
Right.
Proper. Because they have P Company. We have the commando tests. So at the end of their training, they have P Company, which is, I don't know, a week long, I think. And then we have our commando tests, which is about a week long as well. And we're always, trying to see who's better, who's, But it's quite a, I don't know, as you go through your military career, you work with these guys all the time. And then as you progress and you move up the ranks, you're all part of the same club, really. It's good banter, you know what I mean? Think of it as like, I don't know, Manchester United against Manchester City. You know what I mean? Something like that. It's just... it's just hardcore rivalry, but it's good.
Is that the same as like we had a guy on Dapper Laughs who's like really funny, very, very funny. And to get the stuff through that's been going lately with the woke movement and all the bad things happened during COVID, he just makes a joke of it all, like a satire. Is that a similar thing? When you're going through the hard times in the army, in the Marines, you're having this fun between each other and to have the dark humour.
Yeah.
Similar thing, yeah.
Yeah, the dark humour. It is. It's exactly like that.
Yeah.
It seems harsh at times, but it's not. Like I was just saying, it's more morale, humor is something like I remember. Shit, man! The first time, one of our mates died in combat, and it must have been probably, I don't know, a few hours afterwards, before someone cracked a funny.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everyone was down, man.
Well,
like everyone had just lost. We just lost my corporal.
But a few hours later, there was a joke, like a little bit of a joke.
Yeah, but you can imagine, like Luke, that's the sort of thing Luke would do. Like, he means well, but he's going to do it to break
break the ice.
Yeah, but we were still like stuck in the field, and we were still like, we still had to get back. We had to take him. We had to get his body back, and
what was the joke?
do you know what I mean? It was just like, he was a big lad, and it was around. Fuck's sake! Now we got to get,
carry him back.
Carry him all the way back to camp.
I see.
Do you know what I mean? Because he's a big lad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck. Yeah.
Everybody just sort of probably right because they felt so
but everyone,
bad.
it's that dark humor, that funny, that
Just a reality.
because in the moment, everyone was kind of in shock, and we were still in a bit of a firefight, and it was a bomb, an ID, improvised explosive device that killed him, and everyone was just like totally shocked and in that state, and it just breaks the ice, and it just got everyone back into a sort of working frame of mind. And
Was this in Afghanistan?
Yeah, this was in Afghan in 2007. Yeah.
So take us back from where you're from. You were born in South
we go
Africa?
right back, mate. I was born in South Africa. I grew up there. My dad left. My dad left when I was 3 or something like that. He just left one day. Bit of a shit story, but so it was my mom with 3 kids at the time, and then she met another guy who was actually in the South African army, and he was actually a top bloke, but yeah, it was tough. It was tough growing up, and I just found it hard. And then where do we go from there? South Africa is a hard place to grow up. I was English, and at the time in the 80s, the English weren't very liked by the Afrikaans, the Dutch. They weren't very liked for some unknown reason. I don't know. It goes way back to like the Boer War and all that stuff, which is, to me, I'm like, Jesus, get over it, man. But yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it was pretty rough, and I got into a lot of scraps at school, a lot of fighting, and yeah.
Just to interject, is the Afrikaans language got the clicking sound in the actual?
No, it's basically old school Dutch.
Okay.
Yeah, so South Africa was colonized by the Dutch in like the 1600s, right? And so it's like old school Holland, Holland Dutch.
Yeah, right.
And it just never changed. Now, modern day Holland or the Netherlands, that is now their language is modified. So it's like kind of French and Belgium and a bit of German. It's all mixed in there. But because South Africa was so cut off, it never changed for like 400 years.
Right.
So the Afrikaans, the Boers, the farmers, the white Dutch just never changed. No. And they haven't changed for like 400 years.
I remember being there around 2006. I was in Pretoria and then in Joburg. And I remember there was a bit of a change going on. My history's terrible, so hopefully you can explain it. But it was something around...
It's all the drink.
It's not, it's not the drink.
Memory.
It's not. No, my history knowledge is awful. But it was something around the fact that a certain number of the people running businesses, when I was there, because I was setting up a company there, I think 50% had to be black or 60% had to be black, South African. So a lot of the guys, that's the white South Africans, were being taken out, CEOs and management.
Yeah, that's right. So after apartheid ended, and the sort of the ANC the African National Congress. Jeez, we are getting deep here into like politics, man. South African politics as well. Anyway, they took over, and they put in some new laws, and it was called BE, which just stands for Black Economic
Education.
I think empowerment, maybe Black economic empowerment. And that was basically all companies now need to have a certain level above directors that are of a certain color.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Regardless
Yeah.
of qualifications, age, whatever that is now. Yeah, and I get it because they were trying to get that wealth divide, that gap shortened, and I understand it in certain respects, but in other respects you can't just change things like that.
No, especially after apartheid.
It doesn't work. Yeah. Those sort of things take a long time to, evolve. But anyway, so
to flip it back to
going back to
the crime you said in Joburg.
Yeah, there's a lot of crime.
It's just I mean, we've heard all the stories, haven't we?
It's like
I witnessed it when I was there. I saw it.
Murder capital of the world.
Yeah.
This
and
drugs.
Guns are very freak shootings are like all the time. Like life is pretty. I remember the guy that I was working with said like life is, pretty low value in terms of somebody who wants to kill somebody here.
Yes.
They would I remember there were these kids that would just run across the road, and I would ask why, and they told me that a lot of the women when the kids are they have them on a sack on their back, and they're so close to their mum's back that as they grow up, their perception of length and depth is distorted. So they would run across the road without knowing where the cars were. It was really
it's bizarre. It's bizarre. It's a bizarre country. You got so many different cultures there, and the way people grow up, and there's such a wealth divide. You got ultra wealthy, and then you got ultra poor, and we all know that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah,
people who can't even afford to eat, and then you got people who are living like kings.
Yeah,
there's going to be clashes,
chaos,
and the problem is that predominantly the rich are white, and the poor are of color.
Right.
So it's going to end badly. It's going to end badly. So you end up with a lot of clashes. Yeah. But anyway, I ended up somewhere in the middle, and I was one of these kids who I love the thrill of trouble, of getting involved, and I don't know. I was just attracted to the I don't know, what would you call it? The naughtiness of life.
Yeah.
And that just, it held a certain appeal with me. So I went looking for it, if you like. Totally naive.
But in the nature.
Danger.
In the nature.
Danger. I've always been attracted to it. I've always wanted to get as close. This sounds a bit weird, but I've always had this affiliation with death and getting as close as I can to it.
Wow.
And then just snatching myself back. You know what I mean? And then giving it death.
You've had that
big finger, you know what I mean?
You've had that,
like, ever since I was a kid. Ever since I was a kid. There was, my mom, I remember telling me the story of, there's this bridge down in South Africa where it's the highest bungee jump in the world. And the first time I went down there, I must have been about 4 or 5 or something around there. And we were walking across the bridge to have a look. And my mom turned around. I disappeared, and I literally climbed over the side of the bridge and started climbing down the side of the cliff face. And they had to get like 3 rangers and 3 rescue operators to come and find me. And I was like, hanging off the side of this 700-foot drop. So I've always had like a bit of this
daredevil
thing inside me. It's just like that wild beast, and sometimes I just can't control it.
You were telling me the story off camera with your friends when you were younger about the never will I die that's tattooed on your chest, which obviously is carried through your story.
And that Never Will I Die, which is now, the title of my autobiography, which has just come out. It was just a saying we all used to say when we were about to do something silly or crazy or, just get up to some mischief.
There's something really exciting and real about that. Like, we're just going to go and have fun.
Yeah.
I don't believe I'm going to die, so let's just go and have as much fun as possible. We can play with fire. We can do this. It's just, there's a nice, like you said, there's a nice sort of freedom to that as well.
Something quite powerful about it as well.
Really powerful.
It does empower you, you know. And it is freeing in a way, you know. And I don't know, I think that might be missing in today's youth, you know, is that just
a balance of risk and
just give it everything you got, you know.
Yeah.
Get out there and give it a try.
Well, people don't even...
that can happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Dana White says that. He goes, I feel sorry for the youth of today, doesn't he? There's a video he does. He goes, if you want to go out there, like you say, and just go for it, the other guys won't stand a chance because no one's doing anything.
No one's doing that.
Go for it.
They're all scared of their own shadows.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone's intimidated and
easily offended.
Yeah, it's all this. Yeah. And if you just give it balls to the walls, man, you will go far.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I found anyway. That's my experience.
Yeah.
So you moved from Joburg to the UK, and then you thought you'd sort of tamed the beast by joining the Marines.
You know, throughout my childhood, my mom then decided to move around a lot. So I moved to America, and I lived in California for a while. And then I moved to the UK, and I lived in the UK for a while when I was about 12. And then I moved back to South Africa. So there's a lot of moving around, and that taught me how to just believe in myself and you know, build character, because no one likes to be that, you know, the new kid on the block, and you have to stand up for yourself quite a bit. So build character, build strength, and I got back to South Africa, and I just started just going down some bad paths and doing some just crazy shit and getting into a lot of trouble. I got arrested a few times, and it just came to a head where I thought, if I don't do something that's going to turn my life around drastically, it's going to end it one of two ways.
How old were you at this time?
About 18 when I you know, hit this crossroads. I was about 18. I just thought, okay, where do we go from here? So
you were saying like either one way or another, it would be death, you know, or in prison.
Yeah, and I've been in prison a few times now. I've been, you know, caught drink driving, drugs, all this shit. You know, just a proper rebellious person. I don't know, maybe call it acting out. I don't know. So I thought, what's going to straighten me up? What's going to give me what I'm looking for? And I guess I was looking for some sort of family, like a brotherhood.
Discipline as well, maybe?
Yeah. You know, discipline, you know, some sort of organization that could, I guess, tame the beast, you know, give me some boundaries.
Because what I find with discipline is it appears a lot more than people think. And some people, and maybe this was you as a kid, it certainly was me, I wouldn't have liked to be told what to do. But at the same time, if someone said, you know, go and train and work out or become better yourself, then that's like, and then have the discipline yourself to do that, then it changes the pattern. But it's still someone, you know, you still went to the Marines, and someone's still, do you mean? There's like a fine line between that.
It's really interesting.
Between someone telling you what to do and actually discipline yourself.
Yeah, because a lot of the guys that were in the Marines were proper rebellious, don't like authority people. And then here they are in the Marines, which is like...
Taking orders.
And being told what to do 24/7.
And the strongest kind of orders up at 6 a.m, I imagine.
But there's a common good, because everybody's taking it, and you know going in you're taking it. And if a teacher or somebody else says, you get, I couldn't take any, I still can't take that sort of criticism. It's really hard.
Yeah.
But when you're all in it together and you're fighting for what you believe is a common good, right? And you're all strong as fuck.
I think there's also this, like, there was this, they play on your ego a little bit, because they're all like, oh yeah, you can't pass. You know, you're not strong enough. You're not tough enough. So they play this angle, you know, and that really appeals to that type of person, that character.
Yeah. It's like a teacher saying, no, you're never going to achieve anything. And then that sticks in your head forever.
Yeah, and you're like, well, okay, whatever. But if these type of guys who are like, oh, you're not strong enough, you're weak, all of a sudden they turn into like, it starts to motivate them a bit more, and they're like, oh, I really want to show that I can do this. So then
that's the change that needs to happen, because people see that as like being told what to do is like a bad thing. And it's really not, because there's a lot of motivation that comes out of it. Definitely. And every person like yourself who's been through anything, it's the same story, whether it's male, female, like, you've done this or I've done that. It's like, it's the same story. When someone tells you what to do and you listen, and, or they say you can't do something, it's that old saying where people say, anyone that's going to put you down is never doing more than you. So it's like, it's a good thing if people just flip the narrative, rather than thinking, okay, shut up, you're not telling me what to do. It's like, flip the narrative, isn't it?
So that's what I guess drew me to the Marines, but I didn't want to do it half measures. I didn't want to like join the army or join, the Air Force or the Navy or whatever. I really wanted to test myself, and they were saying, the Royal Marines Commando training is the longest infantry training in the world, longest and hardest in the world, which is a fact. Again, that just appealed to me.
Give us an insight into like some of the training that you would have to take on.
And how long was it?
Well, it's 52 weeks long, so 8 months. Solid, non-stop.
Wow.
If you can go 8 months.
If you make it through that.
Yeah, because you can get injured or whatever, and you can get like back trooped and,
Isn't that a year? How long is a year?
8 months is like 3/4 of a year.
Yeah.
How long is a year in weeks?
12 months, 52 weeks.
How long is a year?
That's what I said, 52 weeks.
52 weeks, yeah. So it's a bit, it might be a bit long. I might have got that wrong. It's
52 weeks is a year?
Yeah.
no,
A year.
yeah. So
You call it a year.
A year?
Yeah,
not a
52
year.
weeks is a year. Yeah.
52 weeks to a year.
Not
So
a year.
it's a bit shorter than a year. So it's
Right.
actually 8 months. So
And that's like every day?
yeah,
Or
every day,
5 days a
non-stop.
week?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Not 5 days a week, mate. Like 7 days a week. Just non-stop.
Take us through some of
No
the...
weekend breaks, mate.
Take us through some of the highlight moments where you thought, like, okay, this is really tough. Or like, what did you do that's like, it could be tough and good
the
at the same
sleep
time.
deprivation is hardcore.
I can imagine.
It's like
Yeah.
hardcore.
shit.
and
What's that? No sleep?
No
No,
sleep.
no, mate,
Yeah,
loads of
no
sleep.
Yeah.
Mate, you slept.
deprivation.
You've got to stop taking those melatonins.
Yeah.
You slept for like 12 hours last night.
He's the most deluded.
I think just stop asking questions for a
For
minute.
7 hours? Yeah, okay, but what's the benefit of that? Or what did you have to do that for?
It's
What did you have to
trying
do that
like,
for?
Well, they're trying to make you to see if you can still operate when you're cold, tired, and
Right.
hungry.
Right.
So they have to, just do that to you. They have to implement that. So they're going to push you to where you're on rations for long periods of time, on exercise, where you get no sleep, and it is freezing cold. So middle of winter, they'll put you in the, rivers and
Right.
wherever, and get you piss wet through, and then make you go on sentry and wake you up every 3 hours to go and stand there for an hour, and then all these kind of things.
What's the longest you went without any sleep then? Can you remember?
In the Marines,
Yeah.
it was a few days. Yeah.
Wow. That's heavy, because when your core temperature cools down and you start sort of shaking, that's a horrible feeling.
Yeah, when you're tired and hungry.
Yeah, tired and hungry on top of that, and probably thirsty and eating shit food.
Yeah.
That is
It limits your like decision making as well, doesn't it? So
that's what they're
trying to do.
That's really what they're trying to get out of
Yeah.
you. Is limit your, because you know how the brain, it doesn't function properly when you're
Exactly,
tired, cold,
yeah.
and hungry.
Yeah.
So then they start asking you questions and sort of seeing how you operate under duress.
Yeah.
So under those sort of situations or circumstances. And you've still got to be able to soldier properly. And a lot of people just can't hack it, man.
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised how many people actually voluntarily withdraw.
Wow.
Like they don't actually have to kick a lot of people out. I can't remember the percentage, but the majority of them will leave.
Wow.
On their own.
It's really interesting you
This
said
is so
the sleep deprivation
so
as well.
shit.
Because it could have been like, running 2 marathons in a day, or like, you know, I don't know, whatever it may be. But the fact that like sleep is resting, and it shows how important that is and how painful that can be if you don't get it. And how
and you'd be surprised how your, I don't know, what do you call it, like your intelligence or your how your brain slows
Functions,
down.
yeah.
Functions. It's unreal to the point where eventually you're finding it hard to do simple, basic things.
Yeah.
Basic things.
And there you are making sort of near life and death experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
But just one not bad night's sleep.
decisions.
For anyone like leading a normal life, you have like 3 hours, you feel shit all day.
I feel like,
And that's like nothing in comparison. So it must be.
well, you know, moving on from that, wait till you get to the SF stuff. Then it ramps up even more.
What's SF?
Special Forces.
Special Forces, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to jump into that.
Yeah, by all means, yeah.
We're so
I mean, I don't want to jump because
special forces
I mean,
and stuff. So
yeah, okay. Well, I didn't even know that Special Forces existed. You know, I was pretty naive when I joined the Marines. And then when I joined the Marines, and they were like, I went out to Afghan and did all my operational tours and stuff like that. And then I bumped into a couple of guys out there who were doing some like crazy covert stuff. And I was like, and they were just at our forward operating base where we were based in Afghan. And I was like, who are these guys, you know, doing all this covert stuff and being all sneaky beaky and very quiet. And then someone was like, oh, they're, you know, Special Forces. They're part of I think they were Special Boat Service or Special Reconnaissance Units at the time. I was like, what's that all about? And then started looking into it and finding out about it. And it just turns out there was this next level of soldiering, you know. And I thought, shit, that sounds amazing. That sounds awesome. And then I just got that buzz again, you know, because I was feeling a bit like, okay, I've done the Marines now. I'm feeling a little bit like hitting my ceiling. I want to push myself. What's next?
What age is this now?
22.
Okay.
22, yeah. And then I was like, yeah, I want to, how do I get into Special Forces now? Like, mate, you're way too young and way too inexperienced. You know, you need to do like, I don't know, 12 years, and you need to have done like 4 operational tours around the globe, and you need to have certain networks and contacts, and you need to know what you're doing, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, fuck that. And so I just went on to like our system and figured out how I could apply for it. Mm-hmm. I spoke to my sergeant major at the time, and he was just like, no chance. So I just went round his back, and I spoke to the unit down at Poole, and I just said, I want to join. They were like, okay, this is what you got to do. And before I knew it, I was on Special Forces selection, which is over a year long. And it's, it's now going from, I don't know, the Marines is tough. That is hard, to something else. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I can't even explain it. It is intense.
How long was that, the training then?
I can't remember exactly because it just never ends.
Right.
But it's well over, you know, a year.
what was the difference? Or was it like the intelligence, or was it the training, or was it a combination of things? Like what?
No, they just really step it up. So everything you've sort of done in the Marines, they're just now expecting you to know already.
Right.
So they're expecting you to be able to soldier. They're not there to teach you the basics. Now it's all about how well you can soldier, and if you've just got the right temperament.
Using your initiative, I suppose.
Yeah. You know, but it's the temperament, a lot of it.
Wow, temperament. Yeah, I never heard that put in a job description. I've heard
it's
initiative, but not temperament.
No, initiative's there, but temperament is a huge thing. Attitude, temperament, what kind of...
Conduct yourself, I suppose, in those types of situations.
You know, everyone's different. And we're looking for a certain type of person, certain type of character who just has certain attributes. character-wise, and they're
Suppose-
very, very far and few between. I mean, yeah, not a lot of people can pass the Marines. Let's say 1% of the population, and then you take the entire armed forces, and then 180 or so people are put on selection. Maybe 10 pass, or maybe less than 10
Wow.
will get badged. So yeah, it's pretty intense.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. But yeah, that's when you start now going into one stage. I don't think I slept for about 5 nights, 4 days of it.
Jeez.
To the point of where I was delusional, completely delusional. I couldn't even do the simplest of tasks, like the simple of tasks. And that's when they start interrogating you and asking you questions,
Wow.
trying to trip you up. I mean, you've seen the programs on telly.
Yeah.
You know, and believe me, I was those guys on the telly, you know, I was serving with them. In fact, one of them I was actually on selection with. I was with them on selection, and yeah, it's not like it is on telly. Like they put you through your paces, and
Did they
I
ever
was
break
so
you? Did they ever break you? Like, in terms of like your mental state, or
No.
getting a reaction
No.
out of you?
no, I can't.
That's
Yeah.
such a testament to your strength and your willpower, man.
But some people do. Some people flash, or they just lose it, and yeah,
And how long were you there for?
they'll bin you.
How long were you doing that for? It's the
What's that?
Special Forces.
Not too long before I was injured.
Okay.
I wasn't doing it for too long, unfortunately. My career was cut short by my injury. But yeah, I did some good stuff, and it was more so. Special Forces do a whole bunch of different things. You know, where it's not just Green Army stuff. We work with different agencies, secret agencies around the UK, and we're involved in different countries and stuff like that. So yeah.
Is it like GCHQ stuff, or is it more like MI5, like Secret Service stuff?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
Yeah, and just working all over the place. There's not a lot I can say that because I'm governed by the Disclosure Act.
Cool.
So there's not a lot I can actually say without being probably arrested or going to court. But yeah, it's
You must have some great stories in your brain, though. that
I've
you're
got some
like,
great
wow.
stories. Yeah, and
Can't.
I mean, but stories I can tell you about, you know, yeah, not sleeping and being delusional and thinking. Like one of the stories I'd tell you. So one of the tests we were in, we were being put under resistance to interrogation, and they were playing this the call to prayer. You know, the call to prayer. It's like that kind of like it's the call to prayer. It's basically the Islamic prayer in the morning that they play over the intercoms in Islamic countries, and they were playing this just over and over and over and over and over. And I was so delusional at one point. I thought they were putting coded messages in it.
Wow.
But all I could hear was,
The same sound.
yeah. But to me, it sounded like it was someone ordering Domino's pizza. So I was like, what? All I could hear was someone saying like, yeah, I'll have a mighty meaty
so
domino
strange.
with pepperoni topping and everything. But it was in like Islamic, you know,
They had that in Turkey.
language. And I was like,
Because it's like, no.
I was like, what? Yeah. Because it's like, Allah.
Yeah.
But I thought it was like salami
Yeah.
and cheese. And I was like, but I was so hungry. I probably hadn't eaten at this point for like, I don't even know how long I'd gone now without food. But it was probably 4 or 5 days as well.
I mean, there's a chance they were doing
mental.
that. I've just been in Dubai for 3 months, and obviously you hear a lot of that from the when you're driving down the road, like they have it on the speakers.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yes.
But I was reading the other day, the military, I know you can't say any of this, but they've released some papers through the Freedom of Information Act, and they have this thing called covert communication. through radio waves, they can send what they call RF voices or radio frequency voices. So they can actually, direct
subliminal messages.
Yeah.
Subliminal messages.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, to
Maybe
someone's
they were
brain,
just
yeah.
like completely messing with our heads. But when I spoke to the guys who were also in there, they thought they were hearing nursery rhymes and all kinds of crazy stuff. So I think you're just so delusional.
Yeah.
So
And that's when they then come take you in for like interrogation
Yeah.
and start like proper grizzing you.
Is that
for
practice
information
then?
and stuff.
Is that practice done? So let's say if you are kidnapped by the opposition,
Yeah,
and
that's
basically
exactly
you're
what
you're
it's-
going to be interrogated by them because you can give off all this information.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
but
did.
okay, so I'm gonna sort of
That's
But Green Army
good test,
don't
like.
go through that.
Yeah.
Right.
So normal stuff, normal military units don't do any of that.
So my question to you, and it's kind of like I don't know if you're gonna answer it, and where you're at now, is there not like a side of you now where you just think that didn't strengthen me, that's more damaging, that's like if that happened to me, I just think
traumatizing.
yeah, it's like more
It's really
damaging than actually
traumatizing.
making me stronger. And is there counter effects to that? Because it's like, you're sitting here now with a clear head, you're not in the special forces, and obviously you've had this crazy accident, but like it's like I would be like, well, is this good for me? And you just mentioned on the sleep, right? We've just a lack of sleep is not good for you in whatever sense. Like
Yeah,
no,
it's
there's
not,
a- there's
I
a
mean,
lot
eventually you'll die.
Yeah,
Eventually you will die.
So it's just like, is
but
it
they're on the
is it
front
good?
line. The way I see it, right? You guys are on the front line, and you're protecting. As long as what the commands that are coming from above, as long as they are with good intent for the people of the country that they're serving, you might be saving. You might be putting your life on the line, right? But you're potentially saving many people's lives. Is that how it's seen?
Yeah, that's exactly, to me, to me, that's what it seems.
your purpose, I suppose.
Yeah. But I talk a lot about it in my book, about the actual in-depth, like a lot of the psychology of it when I was out there, how I was feeling. I talk about what happened when one of my best friends was killed on a job right in front of me. That was pretty intense. And then we had to repatriate his body back as well, and the psychology behind that. And then where you go to those dark places when you get back, and there's that quietness afterwards, where your mind goes then. That's pretty damaging, I'll be honest. That sticks with you.
Yeah, but you've obviously got a really strong mindset. Like there must be some guys out there now and girls that are just like
PTSD.
absolutely like shattered in their brain.
They are.
in their
There's
body.
loads of people who are.
There's and there was like a
It's damaging, man. PTSD and all these sort of things, and it's completely so damaging. It can ruin your life.
This is why I'm really. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I'm really on the fence. I'm like, right, one side of, joining the special forces and all these different types of things, got the discipline, the training, the fitness, all this kind of stuff is great, and then the other side is like, why? Like, what the fuck?
I think
to go to war, to do, all the other reasons that are politically controlled just doesn't. It's like what's the?
I mean,
Would I do all that to do that? Probably not.
But you're a little bit older now, so
Yeah.
And fatter.
better, yeah. But it's
No, he's got his own reason for doing that.
Look.
No, but that's what I'm asking.
The military does appeal, and they do target youngsters
yeah,
for a
right.
reason.
Yeah.
For a reason, because they're still at that age where they're pretty boisterous and they're like, they want to prove themselves. And they want to get out there and all this macho bravado stuff.
Yeah.
And that appeals to a younger generation.
Well, I think it's scientifically proven now that you can't change someone if they're over. You can't really change anyone if they're past the age of 34. So anything
Plus,
before that.
they can mould them at that age as well. So
But don't you remember being at school? I remember being at school, and like I had 2 or 3 friends that they would read army books. They were fascinated with the gear and the guns and everything. And I was like, that's where they're going to go.
Yeah.
They're still interested now. One of them went that way. And it's if you're interested in it, you're going to go. But you didn't have the propensity when you were young. You wanted to be an actor, you wanted to dance, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, but some people have that propensity. Like we had this guy on yesterday. He should have been in the army. He sort of does these 4,000-mile hikes. So I think there's a place for everything and everyone.
And being patriotic as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, being very patriotic. I remember when I was about 21 or something, I was getting into a little bit of trouble and stuff. And my mum said, look, why don't you, like she said to me, she suggested, joining the army at that point. Actually, my best friend, Hickey, he did, and he's now doing like private security in Afghan.
Yeah.
And it's when he comes back and he lives, like in London, he sort of doesn't enjoy it. He sort of like prefers that life of like, I guess there's a level of excitement and
routine.
Well, so that's my question. Where's your mindset now? Because obviously,
Well, yeah, you gotta ask yourself
so-
the question. Like, if I'd never joined the military, I wouldn't be in this situation. And what were we fighting for? There's all these big questions.
where's your stand on it now? Like, do you love it? Do you think it's like? Do you think it's still?
I think in life things just happen. You can't prepare for everything and every eventuality. It's just physically impossible. All you can do is keep going and do what you want to do at the time and in the moment.
And adapt, I suppose. Yeah.
And in the moment when I was young, and that's what I wanted to do. And I honestly wouldn't change it.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't if I could go back, I'd still join the Marines, yeah. And I'd still do all the things that I did because it was amazing. And I made mates for life who would have my back no matter what. They'd literally die for me, literally. And it taught me a lot about myself, about my own character. And the whole thing with Afghan and what were we actually doing out there and what was I doing in other countries and things like that. The bigger picture stuff. What it truly boils down to is I think I just wanted to, I think a couple of things. One, I wanted to experience different parts of life, but two, there's always been this part of me that instinctively always wanted to protect and help. So, yeah.
And that comes from not having the father growing up.
It doesn't, yeah. It comes from not having a family. And it comes from being alone and things like that. So that's what made me fulfilled, and I wouldn't change that for anything.
It was your fulfillment,
Yeah.
for sure.
What's the connection
I
from?
finally found my place in the world.
Yeah, that's amazing.
If you don't mind me asking, what's the connection? Because I'm sure we're all interested in your answer. Like, what's the connection between like not having the father, so from having like somebody that's not caring and protecting to you wanting to protect? I'm just trying to put that connection in my mind.
That's because none of us.
Yeah, like look, I mean, I wanted that, I don't know, that family and everything so badly. I was just desperate to be part of that. And I guess you start to look at others who are on a similar path and you feel like you could now help them by maybe just being, I don't know, being somewhere in their life, as that protective figure. I don't know.
Just giving them life lessons.
I've always been susceptible to helping someone who's like an injured bird syndrome. You know what I mean?
So no, with
you know what I mean? I just when I see someone being bullied, or I see someone who's struggling, or I see someone who needs help, or I just see, I don't know, instinctively there's something that just comes over me.
Yeah. Very can relate to that.
It's and whether that links back to not having a strong family, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is to do with that. Could be something else. Could be just something else. Born with maybe it's just nature versus nurture. I don't know.
No, thanks. I'm asking because we've got similar things, and it's interesting to hear from you.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know.
So you were in the forces for what, 2 years, and then you had this accident?
Yeah. So coming to the injury, basically, I was on an op out in Afghan, and we were going after high value targets. and we'd done all our prep. We'd done all our, due diligence. We'd been watching this guy for a while, and we'd studied the compound and what we were going to do and everything. And basically, all I can remember really is getting prepared to go out on the ground, getting my mind in the right place, getting psyched. And I'd always listen to some good music just to get me in the zone.
I was just about to ask you, what are your rituals to get you G'd
so
up?
I definitely get in the zone with music. I love music. It's just helps me, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can really,
What did you do?
it can affect your mood,
What did you go to? What was your
So
go-to?
I've always been a bit of quite heavy alternative rock. So those sort of bands like Disturbed, or for this type of thing, Disturbed, System of a Down.
Love System of a Down.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? That kind of
Chop suey.
chop suey. Get psyched, get pumped. And stuff like that. Or I had a whole playlist, and I'd just be listening to this, getting my stuff prepped, and then I remember going down to the helos, getting on the helos. I remember getting to targets in the middle of the night, pitch black. And then it just gets vague, to be honest.
So it was that night?
Yeah, it was night. And the last thing I remember is kind of kicking in the door. And then it all just goes black. And from what I've been told from my colleagues and things, we went through and we just walked into a wall of bullets. And unfortunately, one went straight through my neck. It bounced off the side of my helmet. Which would have killed me instantly. And that was me, down and out. Hit the deck. My mates dragged me out, started patching me up, trying to get me, keeping me alive. Sticking their fingers in my neck, stem the bleeding, and just trying to keep me alive, basically. But I don't remember any of that. I just remember waking up 3 months later and back in the UK. Because I was in an induced coma for 3 months.
Wow.
Oh, you remember?
Flat on my back.
3 months later.
3 months later, waking up and being in Birmingham Hospital with hot doctors, people over me going, "No shit, he's actually alive. He's actually awake," because they thought I was brain dead. Because where the bullet hit was so close to the brain and the skull, they weren't too sure if I was brain dead or not. And they couldn't do an MRI scan to check because there were still fragments of bullets in my neck.
Right.
We all know, MRIs work on
Magnets.
magnets. So they were like, we can't do an MRI. So we don't know how much brain damage he's got.
So was
So
it
we
directly
wake him up.
in the front of the neck? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's to the side.
Okay.
It went straight in the side, hit my spine, and came out the other side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. AK-47, 7.62, close range. So, not for, 10 meters.
Mate, it's like a miracle you're alive, really.
It is in a way, yeah. It's the luckiest and the unluckiest, because it did enough damage to, paralyze me for life and probably put me in one of the worst situations you can imagine, and then didn't kill me at the same time. Mm-hmm. So lucky, unlucky, it depends how you look at it. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people would have said I should have died then and there. And I've asked myself that question. I wish, do I wish I had died? That haunts me, because I ask myself that a lot of times when it gets tough, because it does get tough. I can't move, I can't do anything myself. 24/7 care. I have a lot of health implications. It's mega hard for me to travel. I'm on medication for the rest of my life. That's tough. Mm-hmm. It is hard.
Just the things
So
that we
I ask myself that all the time.
yeah, just the things that we take for granted every day. The simplest thing,
I can't
like
do anything.
breathing, and
I literally
you know,
I can't breathe.
yeah. So you've got the breathing apparatus.
yeah.
yourself.
Talk us
Yeah,
through
my
that, because we
ventilator.
can hear it now with the breathing.
So so this
Is that-
machine like gives me a breath, keeps me alive.
And what is it? Is it connected to you? Where is it connected to?
So it goes straight into my throat.
Yeah.
Through
And
a
then-
tracheostomy, and then it just pushes air basically into my lungs. Because my diaphragm is paralyzed, so I can't actually breathe. So if you disconnect this,
God.
I've got to hold my breath.
So it went through to the side and it went through the spine. So
Yeah, hip,
it was the
spine.
spinal cord is the main damage, right?
Yeah.
Is there? I mean, first of all, thanks for sharing that. I mean, that's like a really, it's. I know it's just, I can't even imagine, right? We just sit, we can't imagine
It's
what.
intense.
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
intense.
there's words that you can't really. So I guess this. I've been reading so much about Neuralink. Have you? And I know they're opening.
Yeah, that's Elon Musk stuff.
Yeah, and they're opening now to people that are paralysed. They're like opened a list like 6 months ago. Is all of
You really believe in it, don't you?
I do really believe in it because
Like-
that's why it depends what's damaged.
Yeah, it's a funny one, and I've also looked into a bit of it. You've got to be careful, first of all. I mean, how well they've trialed these things.
They've tried it like incredible. In my opinion, they've done 1,500. I could be wrong here, but it's like 1,500 primates.
Right. Okay.
They're doing human trials this year. And Elon Musk said, he either said he would put it in himself or he'd put it in one of his kids. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
a bold statement. Yeah. I mean, the one thing everyone looks for in these situations is it FDA approved?
He's okay. So there's another company called Paradromics who have been FDA approved who do brain implants.
Yeah,
A friend of mine's just invested in them in Dubai actually, and they have not got their FDA approval, but I believe they will. Neuralink. So they've done lots of animals. And
But what actually happens? Explain what actually happens. Like just briefly.
so they have this thing called a microfabrication robe. Do you want to? Is it all right to chat about this?
Of course, mate. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Please
'Cause
enlighten me. I'd love to know about it.
Yeah, because it's they have this thing called a microfabrication robot, and it basically they don't use a neurosurgeon because so he's a robot that works at the nano level. Now the crazy
Right,
thing
yeah,
to me,
that's really small.
yeah,
Really small.
so your neurons in your brain, you've got like 82 billion neurons, right? And every neuron is roughly, let's say, 10 microns across. Yeah. This robot goes in, it moves with your breath, it moves with your brain, it moves whenever you move, when the bed moves, in exact unison at that nanofabrication scale. It puts at single neuron resolution level these things that they call laces, and they're wires, and at the moment they're up to about 3,200 of these wires individually in neurons, and they use a very clever substrate that makes sure that the brain neuron tissue, the axons grow around it properly without it looking like a foreign body. That's then controlled remotely. And what they're now doing is they're having connections to different parts of the spinal cord and different parts. So by thinking, like they've actually done it with animals. The animal can play a game by thinking. They just give it water, and the animal can think and play Pong, with the computer, moves the joystick through the brain.
It's intense.
Yeah, and they've opened it up this year for human trials. So I'm just thinking on like a positive is that like
Yeah. I mean, I'm always open to new stuff coming through. The thing you got to be careful is hope. Hope is a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
It's a mega dangerous thing, and I say that because I've seen guys in similar situations to me just get into huge debt, spend all their money, all their time obsessing about a cure or a fix or something, and they just go downhill. They get let down time and time again, and they're now flat broke, living on benefits. They got nothing because they've gone off to China or they've gone after some crazy ass experimental thing because they've been promised to get their life back. And I get that, man. I get that because I would give anything for my life back.
Right.
I really would. But you got to be careful. You got to be smart.
I don't think that they would charge for the first year or two. Like, I don't think that they can charge, for the first year. And it's, I mean, first of all, he's the richest man in the world, right? And he's doing it for good things. He could do it for other reasons to connect your brain to a computer, right? But he's doing it for really good reasons, right? So, and it's actually
so interesting, yeah.
So to me, I don't think he'd charge, and I think it would be a case study
charge
for
at
him.
all, to be honest.
No, at the
But
beginning.
what could that do for Toby? What could that reconnect his?
Yeah. So basically, you've got in your brain, you've got. Toby's going to know more than me, but you've got motor neurons, right? So you've got different parts of the brain. There's a guy called Penfold who back in World War One, he would do neurosurgery on people. And what he realized is if he touched certain parts of the brain, they would speak, their mouth would move, their knee would move, their arm would move. So they did this thing, it's called the homunculus, and they basically were managed to map different parts of the brain to all the parts of the body. So they know exactly if you move this part of the brain, and it's called a potential. If you excite particular neurons, a cloud of neurons, with an electric potential, your arm will move, right?
Okay.
Your leg will move. So obviously, it's quite, but the fact that he now owns a big part of OpenAI, which is, ChatGPT and all these very advanced AI software, the fact that he's got the hardware that's really, really good, and they're doing human trials this year, it makes, it was the first thing that kind of came into my head because, what you were saying about the choice of when it happened, I can really sympathize with that choice, that like it would have killed most people. So of course, that. And I think a lot of people must think about that. Even when it hasn't happened to them, I've often thought, what happens if this happens? Do you know what I mean? It goes through your head. So it's super interesting to know. Like,
it is. I find the whole thing fascinating. How I survived apparently is a medical mystery.
Right.
Literally is a medical mystery. Because you got to think I was in the middle of the desert, pitch black. When I was shot, by the time they'd called the 9-liners and to come and get me, I'd been dragged out. They'd started working on me. That probably took, 10 minutes. I'd stop breathing instantly.
Right.
So you think 10 minutes to get me out of the compound.
Yeah, that's normally enough for brain damage.
Yeah, because what is it, 4 minutes till brain damage sets in?
Yeah.
Permanent brain damage. And then they start trying to resuscitate me, do all this sort of thing. He's not breathing. He's got a pulse, but he's not breathing.
Right.
Then they got to call in the helos. That takes, 15, 20 minutes for them to get to you.
Right.
They had to fly me to the closest American Yank base, which I believe is another 20 minutes, which is a 40-minute flight. From there, it was only a small outpost. From there, they had to get me back to Camp Bastion, which was, I think, 8 hours south.
Wow.
And then from Bastion, they could then stabilize me and then repatriate me back to the UK. Once I got to Birmingham, they did then 3 mega operations to try and figure out what was going on and how much they could repair. Literally they had to basically, because my back of my neck was only being held on by skin, basically.
Wow.
So they had to cut right through that. My head literally flopped forward. The only thing holding it was the front of my neck. And then operates and try and save my life. 3 8-hour surgeries, I think.
So the
try and fix me or save my life. And they were just like, there's no way he's either going to die. He's either going to die from the stress and strain on his body, or he's going to be completely brain dead and we'll have to switch the machine off anyway. So it was like completely,
Did I read somewhere that they were going to switch the machine off?
Yeah, they were going to switch it off. They were like, dead certain. It was like, so
what kept it on?
Well, they did. They asked my brother, and he was like, "No, I just want to try. I just want to see what happens if we slowly bring him out of the induced coma." And the surgeons in that were like, it's risky, mate. But they did, and slowly like wean you off those induced coma drugs and things, and started coming around,
Just to take you back, sorry, James, go on.
Sorry. Yeah, just like biologically. So the spine was like completely shattered, right? If your neck was forward, but obviously, it's still pumping blood to your heart. So did they repair any of the veins and the nerves, or were they all intact?
So 2 of the main arteries, your 4 arteries in your neck that supply your brain with blood. 2 of the ones at the back were severed.
Right.
And they had to be capped. with what they call a coil.
Right.
It's like this little. They put a little camera in your groin, and they go up through your arteries, and it goes up. Little mega thin camera goes right up, and then they repair it like with these robots and stuff you're talking about.
Wow.
And they put a little coil in your artery, and they cap it off to stem the bleeding.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why they were like convinced there was mega brain damage to the back of my head.
Right.
There was no blood flow to the back of my brain
For a long time.
for a very long time.
Wow. That's crazy.
So yeah, the whole thing is messed up. And yeah, it's just a bit of a medical mystery. I don't know. But at the same time, I was incredibly fit,
Yeah.
incredibly strong-willed. And I'm not trying to like just pick myself up there, but it's just part of the job. And if I'm honest, I remember in the coma just not wanting to die.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? It was like this intense feeling of,
So you remember
Made it
being
this far,
yeah,
sort of thing,
I don't want to die. I don't want to die.
So do you remember
Today,
being
not
in the
today.
coma?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, you have these like crazy ass dreams. You can't differentiate between reality and dream world. So you're walking around,
It's mad, isn't it?
and I couldn't differentiate because I
That's
was like,
mental.
all of a sudden I was back in South Africa, and I was walking around my outside the streets along my house in the middle of the dark, walking around, and there was this like thing dangling off my neck. I was like, what is this thing around my neck? And I couldn't get it off.
Wow.
Yeah, because you know it's in the dream.
Yeah. So it's like, what's reality? What's not reality? And you're jumping from like place to place, and you got all these weird, vivid images and flashbacks of your childhood, and you're
Mind's
going
playing
from
tricks
place.
on you,
Yeah,
yeah.
your mind's just.
There's a film called Awake
hyperdrive.
about that. Have you seen it?
Yeah,
You've seen it, yeah?
I've heard of it,
Yeah,
but
it's-
I don't know.
It's good, man. It's really
Yeah.
good. It's Jessica
weird.
Alba and Hayden. I can't remember his name. The guy who was in Star Wars, but he has this operation, and apparently, there's a crazy number of people that are awake
Yeah.
during
I'm
operations.
convinced your brain's still.
Yeah.
brain's still going on.
Most brain operations are done when you're awake because you can't feel your brain.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And these drugs, they sort of numb parts, but I don't think they know exactly what's going on, especially with comas and stuff, and those near-death experiences.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, no one really knows what's going on. There was no like lights at the end of the tunnel kind of thing. I wasn't walking to the end.
Yeah.
To lights at the end of the tunnel, stuff like that, and I didn't just turn around and decide that. No, it was just this overwhelming feeling of like, I am going to resist no matter what.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do not want to die today, and it was just.
I've never heard that before. I've
Just
never heard
fighting that feeling,
Yeah.
just fight that feeling. Like whenever you feel like I want to give up,
Yeah.
just be like, no, not today, not
Because
today.
in a weird way, you were dead, like essentially.
Yeah,
In a weird way, you were
essentially,
dead, but there
yeah.
was something in your brain.
Yeah.
And the idea of you dreaming and going to like, that's just, I've never heard that
I
before.
was
That's really,
resuscitated twice, so my heart stopped twice. So yeah, I don't know what happened, but
Not to
managed to
question,
get me back somehow.
not to question your decision making, but to take you back to this scenario, would there be anything that you sort of thought to yourself, we could have prevented something, or when you were sort of kicking down that door, the bullets are
Yeah.
coming at you,
So
could you say to yourself, maybe it could be
there is quite a few things. I mean, this is where that chain of command comes in.
oh yeah, shit.
When you're told to do something, when do you resist? When you say, no, I'm not doing that,
When you said it was planned and it was put together properly, like
yeah, it was
wasn't-
planned and everything, but the problem we had was there was women and children on target. And at this time, there was a lot of political stuff going on about how, and there still is actually, about how British soldiers were killing, or there was a lot of civilian casualty rates in Afghan and these sort of places. So we were getting a lot of pressure from the government to try and stop that.
Not just drop a drone bomb
Yeah,
on
exactly.
it, yeah.
'Cause that's probably what we would have done. You know what I mean? Why put yourself at risk when you can just drone strike, just level the entire compound. But you can't do that when it's women and children, and you got rules of engagements, which I'm not going to go into because that's like a book that's thick as anything. But yeah, so we got onto target, and then the call came down. We can't do our normal methods of entry, which is probably pack PE.
Man, it's crazy.
But it's crazy shit. Yeah, I mean, I could talk about it for hours.
Yeah, I mean,
It's crazy shit. But
you're the bravest man I've ever met. Mate.
No, don't.
Like-
No, there's guys out there that are still out there,
Yeah,
doing stuff out
but just to hear your story,
You
it's
But the fact that you're all still put together, you're smart, you got your light, you got your energy,
and
it's
that's
like,
some
it's
stuff
great.
I'd love to talk about as well.
Yeah.
I've come on to like going back and rebuilding my life brick by brick, piece by piece.
Building that kind of
Not
everything.
saying,
You probably have to build everything.
Yeah,
Your
not just
personality,
saying, oh
you know.
well, I might as well just give up now. And,
Yeah.
so pack it in.
just,
Yeah, it's quite
my
easy.
military pension, medical pension. I'm
Even
sorted,
like-
I'll be all right. I'll just do nothing and contribute nothing and be burden on society, basically.
Even
Which
like
I could do quite easily.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
really
just
interested in
take
like the
that.
first moment that you laughed or something, because just something that you did that was normal is like, okay, like I don't know, just like you must have just felt so like, oh, okay, I'm a bit back to me. I'm a bit back to like myself.
Yeah, I mean, it took a long time, mate. It took a long time.
Yeah.
That took a while. Like I had to go through a lot of therapy, man.
Really.
And, I was left on my own for a long time. And there were points, and I talk about this more in depth again in my book, about I did get to a point where, I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to turn the ventilator off. And I figured out that I could actually do that. It was legal for me to do that in the UK.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because anyone has the right to refuse medical treatment or medical intervention. Anyone has that human right. Now we all know we can't commit suicide in the UK, but you are allowed to refuse medical treatment. And this ventilator, which is keeping me alive, is classed as medical treatment.
Wow.
So I'm legally allowed to refuse to have this.
Wow. And there must be like days where you just go, fuck this.
All I need is 2 psychiatrists to convince me. Well, not to convince me, to make sure that I'm not
You're not.
clinically insane or depressed or in any sort of like psychological duress or under any psychological pressure.
So there's light at the end of the tunnel here, where you're now starting to almost like
But
be
all that's
reborn again.
dark stuff. But no, yeah.
You're putting your life together brick
Yeah,
by brick.
what
together, man.
are both sides like of that? So there's one side where okay, I can stop this, but there's the other side where I'm writing books, I'm going to help other people. There's things like Neuralink, exponential growth of technology, so freaking quick like that. You know what I mean? Like, what are the both sides?
What do you mean both sides?
So like
What's the good thing he's having there?
You've considered that before, right? You've considered it.
Yeah, considered it. And then why did I choose to I guess go down the other path?
Yeah, no. So you've considered that before. So that's sort of one side. So you've got one side that said that. Was there a certain point where, like a number of years, where you said, okay, I now live with it. I'm now going the other way where I'm happy and I'm not going to think about that side of things. again.
Yeah. I mean, I did get to like that T-junction in my life where I had to make a decision because I just couldn't stay where I was.
Yeah.
And I guess I just decided, I think I still am, I still feel like I have something to give, something to contribute. And I also thought, I'm just going to give it a damn good go again. I want to give it a damn good go again. Why not? What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Can't get worse than this, can it? You know what I mean? So let's just give it balls to the walls, and just go out there and.
Man, you're still saying balls to the wall.
Yeah,
That's great. That's
and
that's proof your energy and light is still with you. That's amazing.
yeah. So,
Did you feel you had to like let go of a part of you?
Yeah.
To be like, right, that person's almost like dead now to then
exactly. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
that's
be reborn
exactly.
again.
So I had to accept and grieve that Toby that was before my injury died. That person died, and I was, this new person is now here, but there's parts of that person that are still alive. You know what I mean? And that's parts of you that are strong parts of you that you can pass on, and you can still pass on to others. So I had to go through that grieving cycle, and I had to accept that that part of me that had died, and that took a long time to accept, but I did accept it. And life moves on, That's one thing that's out of our control. The sun will rise tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. All you can do is just roll with it.
And here you are, like a full force, a bright energy. You're writing your story, and it's.
So far, it's been a good journey so far. I've tried to do as much as I can. I've tried to show people that, no matter how bad it gets or no matter how bad the situation is, there is still something you can do no matter what it is.
What would you say is the main... I'm trying to dissect you're telling your story. What do you think is the main thing that's going to help other people? Because obviously I look at you and I'm just like, wow, it's a miracle you're here, and it's a really good testament to always continue your life no matter how bad a situation gets, and people kill themselves for less, way less, so it's like I see that positive impact you're having. But what's the one thing for you where you're like, okay, what area do you think you're directly helping other people, or maybe you don't know this yet, but through the book and everything, what's the...
where's your impact? Yeah.
Where is my impact? I've tried to do a lot of things. It's one of the reasons I wrote this book. It wasn't to try and show off. It wasn't to try and write some special forces, what we call a biceps and bullets book on heroic stories and going in gung-ho and all this stuff you've heard before. This book is about, the man behind the soldier and how to overcome difficulties and challenges and the mindset that can get you through difficult times, and then showing that by example. So that's the reason I wrote the book, because I never actually wanted to write this book. It was a part of me that wanted to help other people. So this book, I'm hoping, will help other people get through tough times and inspire youngsters who... We all know nowadays is a tough time for youngsters. We were saying, with this woke generation and under all these pressures of social media and bullying and so on and so forth. And I just think this book could help a lot of people by telling my story. So that's one of the reasons I want to continue being around, is because as my story goes on, it actually builds and gives more accreditation to the story that I can pass on to others.
Well, that's the thing.
Show people that it's possible, man.
Yeah.
And you can still be happy, and you can still be a driving force in this world.
I suppose that's the big...
Just keep fighting, what I mean?
I think the big takeaway is the pinnacle of having the right mindset, and I suppose all the training that you went through, those traumatic experiences where you had to, the sleep deprivation, challenging yourself, the interrogation, those sort of led you to have the strongest mindset now to then be fulfilled, alongside your injury.
It certainly helped. But I don't think that's the full story. And I can't explain what the full story is. But the military mindset certainly has helped, but there were attributes there before, that's gotten me through a lot of shit in my life before I even thought about joining the Marines or the military. The military just bolted on some good tools that I had in my toolbox to use.
Just harnessed your
your
character, I suppose.
Just really amplified it.
I really like the the idea that you're helping, like, this book could be read by some 22-year-old soldier now anywhere.
Yeah, it
in
could
the
be
world.
read by
or it could be
anyone.
read by, like,
I've
a
actually
girl being bullied in a bedroom.
That's what it is. It can be read by anyone.
That's the nice.
When Matt told me about you, I started listening to it on Audible, and I'm like, it's not actually just for soldiers. Like, it will help anyone that's in
And that's the angle I was taking on it.
Yeah.
It's got everything from
I want to
life
connect.
stories and everything.
Yeah.
And it talks about what I'm doing now, and how far I've come. I've started my own business. I went back to business school. I've done a degree in business, which was hard. And they wanted to give me, certain leeways when I was at university. And I got really pissed off at that and said, no, I want to do it like everyone else. And I'll do it the hard way. I don't want extra time for exams or, blah, blah, blah. Or special classes or special tutors.
Special treatment.
Yeah, don't treat me like different. And building my business, I think actually going back to your last question there, Matt, what is my legacy? What am I leaving behind? What am I achieving that's going to help others and make an impact? So I've started this company called Bravery. It's called Bravery for obvious reasons, but it's a wicked extreme sports brand. And it's all about exactly everything we've just talked about, pushing forwards, driving, getting over your fears, conquering what's in front of you. It's an extreme sports brand, but I think, when you face that 10-foot wave or whatever, and you're like, oh man, I don't know if I should be doing this. That's the same feeling as if you were going to have to get up and do a public speak, or you're going to have to do something in front of your classmates, or, you're going to have to challenge yourself or put yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, and you can learn a lot from that.
I love that, because the idea of someone doing that and looking down, like, you're repping the bravery.
Yeah. You just
imagine doing that, looking down and going, actually, no, I am brave enough to do this, and let's do it.
Or I've conquered my addictions.
Or fears.
Or fears, because I'm brave enough to do it. And, so that's what the company's all about, and that's how I think that can help a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
And it's just a gnarly brand.
Yeah.
Which I dig. It's got a real, just a real raw edge to it.
Yeah.
Which I dig.
I want to chat to you about a film, man. There should be a film on this. And I've been playing around with ideas in my head thinking, this should be turned into a film.
There was...
Well, maybe one day.
Yeah. No, because there's... you were going to say about Kajaki, that film?
No. There was a film where this kid was in a car incident and he sort of woke up and the board was sort of spinning and I think he lost both of his arms, then lost his legs.
Right.
And I think it's like he won't get far or something like that. And that, they wrote a book and I think they've just made a film about it with
I'll tell you when we finish, because there's another film that I'm doing now which would have a similar structure, but I probably can't say too much about it. But yeah, it
is an intense story.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But when I woke up, the surgeons were like, "Oh, he's never going to be able to retain any information. He's going to have half the brain capacity as he ever would have if he can even speak. It would be a miracle that I'd only be able to blink, and there was no way they would have ever thought I'd be able to go back to school and do a full-on business degree and start a business.
Did it take time to come out of that, or did you told us a bit about when you woke up and you were like, what the hell, where am I? But could you speak?
Some flipping crazy shit.
Could you speak and everything, or did it take months to be able to talk again?
I couldn't talk.
So you couldn't say anything?
Well, because they blocked off the tube so I could get proper air. But once I could talk, I actually thought I was being interrogated.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought I'd been captured.
Oh my gosh.
So I thought, because the last thing I remember is being in a firefight. You know what I mean? I remember being in, we weren't actually in Afghan, but the last thing I remember is being in a firefight. And now waking up flat on my back, can't move, confused, proper drugs, and I know what it's like being on drugs. And I know what it's like being on hardcore drugs as well. And I was like, this feels familiar. I reckon I'm being, they pumped me full of truth serum and they're trying to interrogate me. And I'm looking up, there's people with masks, bright lights takes me back to interrogation phase again. And I'm thinking, this is exactly what I've been prepping for.
Sounds like the Manchurian candidate.
Yeah, so I start going through my training. I start going through the motions of, don't say anything.
That's fascinating.
So, and then I start thinking, okay, I can give them name, rank, number, and religion. That's like the first step. So I start saying just my name, rank, number, as in my military number, and my religion, and I start getting angry at people, and I start saying, don't fucking touch me, I'll fucking kill you, and all this shit. Getting really angry at certain people, and they keep trying to convince me I'm not being interrogated and this, and they keep trying to bring in people that I'd recognize. But then I'd slip back into a coma because they have to bring you out slowly. I slip back into a coma, your pupils dilate, and you're just gone, and you just switch off, and then you're back in dreamland, and then you come to again, and then you have to go through the whole process again of trying to figure out what the hell is going on, And
how did they stop you from slipping back then? Because maybe I sound stupid here, but what's stopping you from just slipping into a coma? Like
they can't. You just 1 minute you're there and you're talking, and then the next minute your pupils dilate and you stop talking.
But could it happen to you now, for example?
No. Right. These are chemical induced comas.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. So you've got chemicals like they're basically strong anesthetics. When you go under general anesthetic, so midazolam, propofol. Have you heard of propofol? That's the one Michael Jackson died from.
Oh, yeah.
Sleeps and, that's stuff they put you under when you go for say you were going for any operation when they were going to knock you out. They use stuff like that.
Right.
So they keep you sedated, basically. And then they slowly wean you off these drugs. But they have to do it so slowly, the stuff's still floating around in your body. So sometimes it just hits a part of your brain.
Yeah.
And I've been talking to my brother, and next thing my pupils would dilate, and he'd be like, Tobes? And the doctor would be like, no, he's gone. He's gone. He's not what you. And then you'd wake up, and they'd have to try and explain everything again, and you'd be like, where the fuck? Where am I? What's going on? Who are you? Why are you here? Why's my brother here? Where are my mates? Where are my mates? They had to bring in my sergeant major to debrief me and tell me,
this is what's happening.
I haven't been captured. You haven't been flown to Pakistan or Japan or China for, tests or whatever.
Wow.
That's one of the scariest things I've ever heard. That's one of the scariest things I've ever heard.
What that must have done
imagine what's
mentally.
going through your brain is
just getting shot or in pain or whatever. Compared to that, it's like a psychological brain.
Actually, that's a good point. We didn't even talk about. A couple of weeks before, I was shot in the neck. I was shot in the arm. I got shot through the arm from a sniper. 100 meters out, and on another job somewhere else. And that was crazy enough. The reality of that being shot. Someone's just tried to take your life. A human being has just tried to kill you. You try and put that into perspective. And,
you got blown up as well.
Yeah. But that was nothing compared to a human being trying to take your life.
Yeah.
You don't know whether to be angry or just scared or upset.
Or try to reason.
Yeah, you're obviously in the moment I was just like shit. Defend. Get to the compound, do your job, do what you're trained to do. But afterwards, you try and mentally process that. It's like a couple of inches to the left, and I'd be dead. But then you try and what must have been going through his mind.
There's something really.
When he pulled that trigger, he was like,
I'm trying to kill this guy.
Kill this guy,
And he probably saw you if he's on the sniper as well.
Yeah,
saw you.
Sniper,
okay,
through
bang.
the scope, yeah.
There's something really interesting about that. I hate to keep going back to films, but it's did you ever see the All Quiet on the Western Front?
Yeah, that's the new one.
It's actually based on an old film. It came
from
out,
is it from the Germans?
Came out in 19th.
From the Germans' perspective,
1931. They did a new one.
Really interesting from the Germans' perspective, and I can relate to so much of that.
For anyone that, I mean, it nominated and won the Oscar for best foreign film.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's basically about the German perspective, but it's how they, persuade these kids to go to war. And the thing that hit me, that's linking back to your story, and there's been other films on this where during World War II it was like Christmas Day, and they all put their firearms down, and the Germans and the Brits came together, had a big party. Yeah. And at the end of Once Upon a Time, All Quiet on the Western Front, the war had ended. Basically, the war had ended, and they said to the kids, like, if you want to go back out and have one more go, this is the time to do it. It ends in like 30 minutes, We declared the war's going to end in 30 minutes, and they made all the kids go back out, and they all just basically like died because, and they didn't need to, because 30 minutes later the war would have ended. But it's it's that thing of like you said, what goes through the other person's mind, and, it's just that, like, you're trying to kill each other, but then also all of a sudden it's like Christmas
we're
Day.
all human beings.
Yeah, and then you're like having a party.
Yeah.
Would probably get along as friends in a completely different environment.
That's what they say. Like Michio Kaku, this guy, he like one of the founding fathers of string theory. He has like different levels of civilization, like level 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And like level 0 is where people are trying to kill everybody. Do you know what I mean? And then level 1 is where you're at. Level 2 is like you're able to time travel and stuff like that. And we're still at level 0 where
just trying to kill everyone.
It's so basic.
Yeah, that's so true.
You know what? I was talking to someone about this the other day. Like, we are in our evolutionary scale. Like, we are so primitive and so basic that we're actually still fighting over resources and killing each other as a species over
the same resources.
Do you know what I mean? Territory.
Yeah.
Territory. It's like it's barbaric. It's so barbaric, and it makes everyone's like, oh yeah, you human beings are so intelligent, and we're this and we're that. We're really not.
We're not.
So crude, and we act on just impulse and instinct.
And we're fighting like
90% of the time. It's ridiculous.
We're like fighting proxy wars now. We've got British tanks going into Ukraine. American
proxy
jets.
wars, exactly.
It's just we've got like British soldiers there. We've got American soldiers there. I mean, might as well be there. Do you know what I mean? It's like.
But we don't actually want to say we're there.
That's why
we don't actually want to say we're there. I mean, it's all like
it's
2.8 billion we're giving. UK's giving now. A year to
crazy.
I do agree with that, and it's weird because the only thing that really, really fascinates me, I sound really primeval to say this, but it's just a plane in the sky. I just think that's incredible. But that's why I was like kind of debut your status of like the AI changing things in the next couple of years, because it's just we think we're smarter than we are, and we're so far away. Like, if people are still hungry and still all this starving and all these different things of governments and wars.
Like 1.5 billion people are overweight, but 1.5 billion people haven't got enough money to eat. They're below the poverty line.
So it's just like
it is. Yeah.
It's just to us we're still so
wealth
basic.
gap.
We haven't is incredible.
1% of was it the. Sorry, what did I say?
It used to be 90-10. No, it's
it's 1% of the population have 99% of the world's wealth,
and
99% of the population have 1% of the world's wealth.
Yeah, but a lot of it. A lot of it could be so easily fixed.
Oh yeah,
there's a huge amount of pensioners in the UK, right? That below the poverty line, pensioners, right? That have worked all their lives, and they're getting hit now with like CO2, like ULEZ bills and things. It's just it's very corrupt.
That's why I think that's why I think we're probably like all a bit messed up with all social media and stuff, because I think we think we're ahead of what we are, and we're not, because there's certain things, there is technology and certain things that exist which is kind of almost too advanced for us. Even when you just think about the stars of the universe, that just blows your mind. You can't comprehend it. You just really can't. It doesn't matter how much you dissect it, you just can't comprehend that anything is like just infinite. So I think we're just kind of maybe at that stage where we think we're too far ahead. And like I said, we're just basic. All we're doing is trying to survive, going around killing each other, like lying or ripping each other off in some form.
We've got a lot of it like very intelligent, like technologies and stuff that is amazing stuff. But as a human being, as on an evolutionary scale, I just still think we're so primitive. And
I agree.
You go out there and you just see what. You step back from it all and you look at it. I mean,
from a selfish perspective, we're just looking at what we can take within our lifetime because we're not here for a long time.
You're not here
So
for a long time, no.
it's-
Like
yeah.
I think that's why I want to stick around. Like I want to contribute.
That's
I wanna
great.
Contribute.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be a force for good.
Yeah.
Actually try and push the human race forward in the right way.
Yeah.
Instead of all this like just horrible stuff that's going on at the moment. You know? Yeah, there's just so much, and it can be easily fixed, James, like you said. It's just, I don't know, people just get so involved and there's so much red tape and it's crazy.
There's a level of, from up above, there's a level of in governments that of people that are basically, that I've discovered through the last few years are just up to no good, you know, and they're trying to like enriching themselves, and they're not sitting here like you with a really good, you know, intent, you know, or like us. So you realize that and you're like, okay, you know, you see, when I was in Dubai, actually, they had this, my friend told me to go, they had like a private military event where you could buy ammunition. I don't know if you've ever seen like a walk round of it. But
so weird, but I was out there at the same time.
Okay.
I was in Dubai, when was I in Dubai? February.
Okay.
Dubai in February.
Yeah, same. I was in
that
February,
convention was on.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of my ex-colleagues who work out there now. There.
Yeah.
You know, looking at all this stuff.
Did you go there?
I did, and I was like really
Fascinating.
oh man, I'm just like, this stuff's so advanced, it's amazing. But you're also like, wow, they've just got these little wasp drones that can just like flick on someone's head, just pop, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
What, blow your brain out?
Yeah, they've got like wasp drones. They've got this, there's a company
So
called,
you make you have an aneurysm.
He wants to purchase a few.
Just make you have an aneurysm.
you know, like there's a company called Anduril, and it must be, I think Anduril must be a helicopter or something.
Yeah.
And there's a guy called Palmer Luckey. He sold Oculus to Mark Zuckerberg, the VR thing. And he put the £1 billion into creating his own military defense company in the US. And basically what he said was the military, when they outsourced their work to build like a drone system or tanks, they paid so much money to these, you know, defense contractors. He said, Joe, I'm going to just build all my own stuff. So he's been building like these drone scrambling devices and anti-missile defense systems. And he then went in and sold them, and he won a $1.1 billion contract with the US military. And now he just got valued at like $9-10 billion, this company. So now he's actually building all this stuff. Now, what he's saying is, look, China's got more advanced drone technology than us. I am patriotic and I want to protect the US. So he's building, you know, all of this stuff. And that's just going to happen more and more and more and more now, I think.
Yeah. The arms race, as we call it. Yeah. But isn't it fascinating how much resources and how much energy and thought and everything goes into making ourselves better at killing each other? It's like
feeding
you know
the
what I
nation
mean?
or something. Yeah.
The most advanced stuff comes out of, you know, let's figure out how to kill each other better. We're amazing. We're amazing at killing each other.
Yeah,
but in a city,
feeding someone
like,
who's hungry.
You know, there's like dangerous people around everywhere, and everyone themselves is capable of being dangerous. But that knowing law between humans exists. It's like you just don't go and attack somebody like in like civilian life. Do you know what I mean? Like everybody knows you're not just going to attack me and take something, right? You just have that kind of invisible agreement that doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, you'd like to think so, but maybe there's some people out there that just...
Not like that.
Some people are not like that, no, exactly.
Some people are completely opposite. They just want to meet someone like you to do that.
They just want to hurt people. They just want to inflict pain and suffering.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's fucked up, it's just
messed up. Yeah, it's messed up stuff. But I just... Maybe I think I was put on this earth to stop those kind of people. You know, it's like sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. You know, sometimes you need bad people who can do bad things to stop other bad people.
Yeah,
you know, and all you have to do is direct that bad person, and you know, towards like what am I trying to say? Yeah, fight fire with fire. Basically,
it's like
a bad person with a bad person.
I know you got your, you know, for secrecy, you can't say many things about the special forces, but I guess the question I would ask, and I guess it's a dangerous question to ask, is, you know, all those people working there, they are using fire to fight fire. The commands that are coming from above, from out here, are they pretty much with good intent, or you can't answer that really, can you? Are they to protect the country and the people in the country?
As in the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
They are to protect the UK.
It's been
Hard because sometimes we don't even know the bigger picture. You know what I mean?
Whatever
even
means necessary.
on some, you know, I guess on some level we're just a tool as well. You know, yeah, sure, we might be a more specific tool for a more specific job, but at the end of the day, we're still a tool.
Yeah.
It depends as
Those
well.
upper echelons of what goes on, you know, is I think that's out of my realm. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
You know, so I couldn't really answer that question properly.
Yeah.
But
Whatever means necessary. I
yeah,
suppose,
a lot of the stuff.
It depends at what cost. If it's like, okay, you're helping the UK, but you know, 1,000 children have got to die in Afghanistan. It's not help. It's not helping. You know, it's not. It's it's a counterintuitive like argument to it. But I kind of agree with what you said just a minute ago. And it's almost like you have to. It's almost like you have to do something bad to stop yourself from doing something worse.
Yeah.
I love that kind of thought process.
Yeah,
You know, sometimes it's okay to do something bad because otherwise you might do something worse.
Exactly. And I've justified a lot of bad things by exactly saying that in my mind.
Right.
You know, I'm doing a bad thing, but for a greater cause, in a bigger picture. You know, yeah, because I've done some really bad stuff, and which will live with me till the day I die. I'm not proud of it, and I don't like to talk about it, but I try and think of what was the bigger goal? What was it? Why did I do those bad things?
Can you say
that helps me sleep at night? You know?
Yeah. Can you say one of the things you just really regret? Like, do you know what?
Well, I'm not going to say it outright, but you can imagine in a war zone and being very specific, you know, basic, you know, very close quarter combat.
Yeah. Killing other people. Yeah. So yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there are some. Going back one step, just what we were talking about, there are some really like in the special forces. I met some bad people. You know, you could do some really bad stuff, and they would sleep soundly at night.
Wow.
Yeah. And
why? Because there was like an enjoyment in it. It's almost.
No, not to just an enjoyment. Just they were just
doing their job,
just blank. You know.
Wow.
They've been doing it for too long. I don't know. But sometimes you need those people, you know, you need those type of people because there are other evil people out there who will do anything to inflict harm, you know. There's some bad people out there and you need some bad people to be able to do just as bad things to them. Like let's take an example. Like you know, there's some terrorists out there who will use women and children for shields. They will, on purpose, go after children, you know, and directly go after families. And like generic forces, military, whatever, we're not allowed to do that because we're governed by law and government and rules of engagement and things like that. But that gives the enemy the upper hand. Do you know what I mean? Because they're able or they are capable of doing things that we're not. And sometimes you need people and organizations that can do that, can fight, you know, above that. Because, yeah, that's how else are you supposed to defeat that enemy? You know what I mean?
Finding those weak spots.
And you need to, you need people like that. It's like clinical sociopaths. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's a fine line, but yeah,
it is a fine line. Yeah,
very, very fine line, but it's crazy. Ultimately, you know, I think it's all about the guys that I know. They're all doing it for the right reasons, and they're all trying to, you know, be a force for good rather than a force for bad.
Yeah.
And if they didn't have the military, or if they didn't have the asset world, they'd probably just be hand grenading, you know, out there just scrapping and doing all kinds of bad stuff. So, yeah, it's a good thing they're in the military and they can like direct all that anger and energy towards doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's That's
so
really
good.
who we are, man. I don't know how long we've been chatting.
It's
for.
an incredible story.
Yeah, well,
And, yeah.
It's just, I'm just in awe. It's just like, it's kind of, you know, I bet you so many people are fascinated on the book and just like, it's
And
it's all
I
in
was
there.
allowed to say a few things extra in the book as well and talk.
Yeah.
I had to get permission to say them, but I've said a few little.
And it's everywhere, right? The book's everywhere.
Yeah, books everywhere. It's mostly. I mean, the easiest place is probably on Amazon. Amazon. Yeah, Amazon.
It's got 4.9, which is like as good as you're going to get.
Yeah,
Everyone else scored it 5, basically, to over like hundreds
Really?
of people. Yeah.
Nice.
yeah, which is really good actually, considering because a lot of books don't really get that high rating. I'm trying to big myself up here, but it's, it's.
Yeah, that's rare.
Are you doing any tours?
Not tours, but I've been doing it. I'm on the public speaking realm, so I've been doing some talks and pushing the book and just doing other things really. But what else? Yeah, mostly just focused on my company and helping others and build this company, building Bravery. It's on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. Yeah, it's just building that whole mindset.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Toby, for coming in. It's
Absolutely,
like,
it's a
incredible.
pleasure, man.
Like,
Thoroughly enjoyed it. And
Yes. Thank you for
what,
sharing.
These kind of things are actually very therapeutic for me.
yeah, so
Good.
funny as well.
It really actually helps me deep down. I go away from these things.
It's exactly
feeling
why.
much
It's
better.
exactly why I do it
good.
as well.
We
The
all
weight's
do,
been
yeah.
lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
Instead of
cool,
just
man.
keeping it all inside.
Yeah.
It's always nervous asking someone like yourself because obviously there's certain things you don't want to talk about.
I'm an
peop-
open book,
But
mate.
people don't realize the moment I'm the same. But the moment I talk about the things I don't want to talk about, it just helps. Helps a little bit.
And I after these sort of things, I speak easier. I sleep easier, and
Good.
I've noticed you got really good teeth as well. Where'd you get teeth done?
mine are genuine, man.
Really?
Yeah, these are real bad boys. Yeah.
Mate,
And good hair as well.
He's got good teeth. I'm looking at him like shit.
Yeah.
That's a great way to end it. Oh man, thank you,
Thanks a
Toby.
lot. Really appreciate
Thanks
your
for
time,
sharing,
Toby.
Toby.
Thanks,
Thank
mate.
you.
Cheers.
Cool, man.